President Bola Tinubu has gotten another mandate to continue as chairman of the Economic Community of West African States, Ecowas Authority of Heads of State and Government. This decision was taken in a closed-door meeting of the 65th Ecowas Ordinary Session. President Tinubu, whose first term will expire on July the 9th, was elected by a unanimous decision of fellow heads of government at the 65th Ordinary Session of the authority held at the State House in Abuja. In his acceptance speech, the president said he has accepted to continue to deliver on this service with the great men and women on this democratic journey, to serve the interest of ECOWAS and build democratic values on the structure he inherited. President Tinubu is saddled with the responsibility of uniting the region and standing against unconstitutional change of government among member countries, and also form an alliance against terrorism. President Tinubu, as chairman of ECOWAS, is also expected to reach out to 3 member countries that have decided to pull out from the regional bloc and persuade them against this move. Well, joining me now in the studio to give a perspective to the re-election of President Bola Tinubu and other matters of national importance is the spokesman of the president. He is a special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on media and public affairs, Chief Ajuri Ngilali. Welcome to the program.
Always a privilege to be with you.
Yes, President Bola Tinubu unanimously elected for a second term as or to continue as the chairman of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government. Why did the ECOWAS heads of state decide to take this decision? And doesn't the president have so much on his plate already in terms of governing the country?
Of course, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man with many responsibilities, wearing many hats, and successfully delivering on many different fronts. It is no surprise to us that the collective wisdom of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government came to the conclusion that given the boldness and the decisiveness and the wisdom with which His Excellency Mr. President has conducted affairs as the chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, that indeed he needed more time to successfully execute on the mandate he was initially given. You know, I think a lot of times people may, kind of rightly reference the fact that there has been this geopolitical turbulence with respect to some of the tendencies playing out across the West African sub-region, the interplay of forces that go well beyond the African continent, kind of interfering with internal affairs of various countries in the sub-region to the extent that they can essentially try to carve it up into territories of geopolitical loyalty and all of the things that we've seen, that even in spite of those challenges, we have a president who's focused, who's fixed on the ball, his eyes fixed on the ball, and who's able to galvanize the support of all of his colleagues to gather and build consensus on the way forward, which is why, in addition to kind of dealing with the geopolitical issues, which the president had obviously today spoken very clearly about the need for all member states of ECOWAS to fulfill their financial obligations to the community. For example, ensuring that the financial base is there to undergird the kind of reforms that need to take place with respect to the optimization of an ECOWAS standby armed force, for example, in addition to the delivery of services to the people of the community. I think what's often lost in the conversation about ECOWAS and the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. President of ECOWAS is the fact that under his chairmanship there have been a kind of a plethora of internal reforms that are taking place and really an emphasis on people-oriented project delivery, right? Ensuring that ECOWAS is not merely a talk shop or a place where heads of state come together to build consensus on issues equally facing them, but also is a body prepared and positioned to deliver on, people-facing projects in the water sector, in the road and railway sector, ensuring that we build out the connective infrastructure across rail, road, gas pipeline, and the like, to ensure that the people of the community understand that there is an economic benefit and an economic dividend for their involvement in the community. And ultimately, that's the message the president sent. That is the message that has resonated amongst his colleagues within the Ecowas Authority of Heads of State and Government, and of course, that is the message ultimately that has seen to his re-election as the chairman of the Ecowas Authority of Heads of State and Government.
And as it stands now, Ecowas is also divided. What's the president doing, or what will he do now to bring back Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, to return them to the fold?
Well, let's be clear about the fact that whatever purported position is being kind of bandied about by the three figureheads of the military regimes that had taken over power, not by the collective will or vote or say of their people, but by sheer force of arms. Let's not conflate whatever view they are presenting in small meeting rooms with the view of the millions of people who have not had a say in who governs them within those three territories. Being that as it may, we are also pragmatic about the fact that these individuals have taken over power, albeit forcefully and without the consent of their people, and as such, we would be naive not to, create bridges and mechanisms to be able to communicate and continue to go into the kinds of discussions that would ultimately lead to a normalization within those countries, within those member states, and ultimately ensure that the people remain the focus. The chairman of the Ecowas Authority of Heads of State and Government, in the person of Mr. President, is not thinking just about playing to a gallery and getting some people around the table or saying all is well. What he's focused on is the people of Burkina Faso, the people of Niger Republic, the people who are being denied their right to inform the process of electing their leadership and being denied the right to good governance as a result of what's going on. And he knows that the quickest way to rectify that is ultimately by bringing together some of these autocratic forces within these countries to ensure that ultimately the conditions in those countries are brought to a stable normal, and that's the focus of the president.
Okay, and the feelers we're getting is that these heads of state believes the president has that capacity to return them to the fold, and that's why they unanimously decided to re-elect him to continue.
Well, it's also worth noting, Femi, that in the wisdom of the president, he's also appointed the president of Senegal, President Faye, who obviously, as you know, the newest member, as obviously the leader of a Francophone-speaking country, strategically to be the special envoy to these three countries that are having some adverse situations play out with respect to the rule of law and democracy. So I think that kind of stroke of wisdom and sagacity is something that I think hopefully will yield results, not just for the people of the Francophone countries, but ultimately for the stability of the entire ECOWAS community of member states.